Mom's over here, and she's going to give me a hand cutting out that piece of phenolic. And this is her little scroll saw, so I'm hoping that it does the job.
Me too.
I told everybody, you know how to cut wood. I used to be a woodworker.
Yeah, I used to, long time ago. I missed working with the wood a lot of times, but this gives me a chance to get back in it a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. It cuts kind of like wood. It's a little tougher than wood, actually. A little bit harder.
Well, it looks like it is.
We'll give it a try. I've got it scribed out for her right there. Let's see. Was that the? Yeah, that side right there. I goofed up and scribed it on the wrong side the first, or the I got it. Oh, and I got this this little air blower from Coil Hose Pneumatics that Philip had sent me a while back, and I figured we'd go ahead and use it on our little scroll saw. It's got a needle valve there, so you can adjust the air pressure, and maybe it'll help blow the dust away as you're cutting.
And not in my face.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about your little
This was
Dennis Brooks?
Dennis Brooks.
I showed Mom what you sent me, Dennis.
Dennis, I love this quarter pounder. I love that. You know, Adam is sharing some of this stuff with me in the exercise block. I'm going to use this every day. And the turn me over, make me feel better, love it.
You know where you need to use that? Whenever y'all go camping over at Carabel?
Yeah.
You need to do that to your sisters.
Okay.
Get a video on your new smartphone down there.
Okay.
of Aunt Dee or Aunt Helen over there picking that thing up.
Anyway, Dennis, thank you, and I thank Adam for sharing that with me.
Well, let me get my glasses on too.
Okay.
Mine are over here.
This is real hard. You think the blade is going to be big enough?
I don't know. I've never cut it with a scroll saw. I think if you take your time, it'll cut it. Don't try to push too hard.
I don't want to go backwards with the saw blade going.
Hey, look at that straight cut. Probably did a lot better than I could. How's the? Let me see. Okay. If you need more air pressure, you can turn that.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
I'm gonna move the camera and get a little close up of it too.
Okay.
I don't think you're gonna break it.
No, I don't think so.
All right, that'll work.
Yeah. All right, now what's the next step? You're gonna do something smooth up.
Well, next step, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it over there in the mill, and we'll actually mill it to the proper width, that way and that way, and then I gotta put 2 holes. So let me grab the ground block actually.
Okay.
We'll see. So it'll be like this right here. There you go. See, so it's a little bit bigger. So I'll be able to mill it to the same size as that copper block there, and then I'll just drill 2 holes for the bolts to clear and go through there.
Okay.
That's all I needed.
Okay. Well, gosh, what a good day's work.
Yeah. Thank you. You did a good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Glad to help.
I'm sure everybody appreciated seeing you over here helping too.
Well, I tell you what, folks, he does a good job on all his videos. He's a great machinist. I appreciate everybody that watches him and sends all of the little gifts, and especially when I get to get a little bit of it too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess we'll load your saw back up. And
Yeah.
what did you think about the little blowgun?
I like that. I wish I had something like that back whenever I used to have this as my woodworking shop, because that's great.
Did it blow the chips
Yeah.
as you were cutting there?
Mhm.
So I don't know if you guys remember seeing this, or you may not have watched the video, but there's just a little flexible nozzle that's got the Typhoon tip. You get it from Coil Hose, and it's got a mag base there, so you can stick it where you want. And it's got a little needle valve, so you can adjust the pressure. So this is the first job that we used it on, was Mom's little scroll saw right here. So that was pretty neat. Finally get to use that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for helping me cut that out, and you made my job a little bit easier now.
Oh, thanks, son. Glad to help.
All right. Well, we'll get you loaded back up then.
Okay.
A little flimsy. Okay. There's 50. It was a little crooked cut there. Just helps pull the chips in right away. Okay. Side cutter's doing a good job. Okay, there we go. Right on it. Okay, there we go. All right, I've already got her zeroed out, so we're going to go 1.5 inches. Okay, right there. That looks right. I went over there and grabbed another one of my Noga deburr tools. This is the, the little countersink chamfering tool. Oh yeah, it worked good. All right, our center to center looks good, and our size, it should be right there. So okay, I'm just putting 2 washers on it, and it's just about at the bottom of the threads. Okay. I think we have it. All right, that's it for the clamp block. Might do a little bit more polishing towards the end once we do our build. So now we got to move on to these guys. So I got to figure out how I'm going to do some bending on these and get that all figured out. So time to move on to the next phase. Alright, I'm going to give this a shot in the press first before I try to do any kind of hand bending. I'm using these, you know, these V blocks here, and I'm going to try to use it as like a die and press on it right here on this line. Now I may have to do something besides this. I know this isn't good trying to tilt on that corner. It needs to be flat. So we're just going to give it a shot. Looks like it's working. Okay. I'm not going to be able to really see that. I was going to do about a 45 to start with. I'm just going to have to take it out. Needs just a little more. You know what? That might be plenty right there. Might be more than enough. I might have to straighten it back out some. Okay. I'm gonna leave this like that. We're gonna go ahead and try to form our radius, okay? Alright, I've decided to go ahead and get started making my jig. I'm going to tack weld the piece of tubing down, and I got a piece of key stock there, and I believe I've got everything positioned to where I want it. And my hopes is that I can bend that copper around that radius there, and I can get it to line up and form the way I want. So here goes. I'm going to do some tacking and get it in place, and then we'll move on. Alright, we'll see if those will work. Hopefully they won't break off. They look good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give this a try. I'm going to attempt to pull it on around. I don't know, I might have to do a little peening. I got a plastic hammer right here we can work with, and I might have to get something bigger than that. You know, regular ball peen, I don't know. Let's give it a try. Okay. And I think I'm getting the radius. Let's see. I think I'm getting it. It's just not staying against this. But okay. might work, guys. Let me clamp it here. Oh man, I think that might work. Let me move the camera. I'll show you what I'm looking at. All right, I hope you can see that. Whenever I pull it back, I believe I've got some contact from here on around to about right there. So I've got a nice area. I got some nice area with contact, and it's about where I wanted. I wanted a little bit of a, I want it to pull in tight right here. I think I hit that one just about spot on, because once I get this cut and I get my holes in the right spot, then we'll be able to put the bolts in there, and it should kind of spring just a little bit so that it's tight on this radius right here. And then we'll see about, I don't know if I've got a room for a spring, but we'll see about doing something with a spring back here if I can. That was what the idea behind this area back here is. But it feels like it's right in there. It's nice and round. So that's about what I wanted to see. I think I want to put a little bit more bend on this out here where the spring's going to go. We'll do that later. I'm happy with it. It's turning out good. So, all right, I need to get the other one done. I need to get both of them up here so I can see this. All right, guys, this is bar number 2. I went out there and did the bend just like I showed you the first time, and I'm ready to start pulling it around. It's actually working quite well with that plastic hammer. As I'm putting spring tension on it here, I'm hitting it and it's conforming to that shape. It's doing good. It's not messing it up like a ball peen will. I think we need a little bit more though. That's looking pretty good. All right, I'm going to check that before I go too far. If we need to, we'll come back in there. You can see contact right there just from shaping it. That's a good amount of contact area for this. Guys, I think that's looking pretty good myself. This one that I just did, it's off just a little bit from the first one on that outer end, and that was because I bent it further and it lined up in a different position on my little jig there. But I mean, that'll still work. All I'm going to have to do really, if I want to make it look a little bit better, is just trim a little bit off the end of this. And I'm going to pull you over some. I'm sliding them back onto the shaft there, okay? All I got to do is just trim a little bit off of this one here, and it'll look even with the end. All right, using one of these can't twist type. Okay, so that would be simulated being bolted up. Definitely got some resistance on the shaft here. Just want to give some a little bit of spinning action and see if we can see some wear on the copper. All right, you see quite a bit right in there. And I can see some right in there. Okay. All right, well, personally, I'm happy with that. And that's exactly what I wanted to do right there. I've just got to figure out what I'm going to do down here. So I'm going to call it right there. I think that'll wear in with time. It'll just wear in and it'll get better. So what I got to do now is I've got to figure out my cut length, which would be somewhere right in this area here. I believe it was 2.5 inches from this edge here. So we'll figure out our cut length, and I'm gonna slot these where these holes go. That way I can adjust it so that it's contacting as much as I can on the shaft down here. All right, guys, we are getting near the end here, and I'm getting pretty excited. I'm ready to go ahead and get this stuff done. By the way, I've been watching. I've been reading your comments for the welding table episode 12. In case you've ever wondered when I'm working on something and when a video comes out, it's about 5 o'clock my time, and you guys have been watching the videos and leaving me some comments. But I'm out here working. I walk by the computer a little bit and I'll read a few comments and go back to working. So anyway, here's our bars, and what I've done is I had them clamped up over there, and this is where the edge of the copper block will meet it right here, and it's going to be 2.5 inches long. So I measured it 2.5. This is where I'm going to cut them off right here. I put me a no bozo cut text right there so that I can't screw it up. And right in here we're going to have a couple slots. It'll be 1/4 inch, and I'm just going to slot it 1/8 to each side. That's going to be plenty, and that's so that I've got room to kind of adjust this and get it pulled up against this radius right here. But I'm looking at it in the light, and I know I probably will never get it to where you can see it, but I'm gonna have to do a zoom mode. I can already see right in here. I can see the machining marks from that piece that I machined, the turn grooves. I can see that right there. So these things are gonna make excellent contact, I think anyway. I think it's gonna do just fine, and I'm happy with it. And there's the Hellraisers again. So while I'm working on this, I was kind of coming up with an idea on do the spring for out here on the ends. Okay, there's really not room to put a spring in between here or hook it unless I found a small one. But that's going to be pretty tight. So I'm thinking what I can probably do. I kind of made a little chicken sketch right here. Drill it, and I can use a bolt with say a lock nut on the back side and put a spring between the head of the bolt and the bars. You know, I'll use some washers there, but basically just put the spring off to one side and use a bolt to hold it in a position, and then just let the spring be the tension on the bars right there. So I think that would be a good idea. So we'll keep thinking about that. I don't know if I have any springs around here. I found that one right there, but that's a little bit too big. So hardware store down the road, they got just about everything you need, so we might find one. All right, so we're gonna do some cutting. We're gonna go to the mill, and we're gonna get these things finished up and bolted on there. Doing good. Cutting these small pieces like this, man, I'm telling you, that's why I've just held on to this little power hacksaw. shop like me, it's handy sometimes. Okay. All right. One more to cut and we'll go to the mill. Go ahead and step it off and do this other hole. Okay. Let me look at that. That's going to be 16. That may be enough right there. Let me go get a bolt. Okay, there's a 1/4 inch bolt right there. It fits the slot good the way I want. You know, that to be centered so you'll have just a little bit of movement. I think I'm going to go ahead and move it an 1/8 inch each direction. I'm doing that to kind of give myself a little wiggle room for error on how it's fitting on this radius down here. Okay. All right, I feel better with that. We'll have plenty of adjustment right there. I don't think we'll need hardly any of it, but I wanted it there just in case. All right, so we'll go back to 0. All right, there's 11 thousandths, that's where it's touching. All right, and then we'll bring it back to 0, and well, that's it. All right, guys, check it out. I got her bolted on there. Man, I just don't think I could be happier with it, man. Everything, I'm very stoked on how these bars came out. This was what I was worried about the most, was the radius is coming out. And you know, I'm gonna bring the camera over here so I can give you a closer shot, but I just wanted you to see what I've done after I finished the other bar. I came over and I went ahead and I wanted to make sure everything fit, and it did. So I bolted these two on, and as I said, these are just temporary bolts. I'm going to buy some nice bolts to go in here for the finished product. Same as here, we may go with some different bolts here, but what I did, I bolted it on and everything worked as I thought it was going to. I just pulled back onto the copper as I tightened this so that it would stay on the proper radius there in the wear pattern, and it's snug on that 2 7/8 shaft now. It's nice and snug, and I'm already seeing a wear pattern down here on this, and I'll show it to you. Already getting a nice wear pattern, and I think those will last for a pretty long time. So the last detail that we'll do is we'll put us a spring down here on the end. So we got to drill us a couple holes, and I got to go find a spring. So that would be kind of like the last machining of the project, I believe. So I'm real happy with it. It looks good, and I think it's going to work good too. if that doesn't transfer current good, then I don't know, man. That's just I wanted to come up with something a little different, and I had a lot of suggestions on using parts from this and parts from that, or do it this way, do it that way. And you know, there's nothing wrong with any of those ideas. They were all great. I was just trying to come up with something a little more my own, where I wasn't taking somebody else's idea and copying it and putting it on this. I don't know if anybody's done anything like this. I'm sure somebody has somewhere, but I haven't seen it. So I'm just coming up with something that I've seen in my mind, and just like the forming of the radiuses down here and bending it, putting it together and making sure that it's squeezed, you know, it's it all worked out good, and I'm very happy. So like I said, I'm going to bring you over here and give you another shot of it closer up, but I'm calling it a night. It's Saturday night. It's about 6 o'clock, and I'm ready to go over to the computer and start reading you guys comments from tonight's SNS 59, I believe, and episode 12 of the Welding Table Project. And I've been out here working and getting this done while you guys have been watching the videos, man, and now I'm going to relax. And tomorrow's Sunday, so probably I'll come out here and at least get the holes in here. I want to trim about a 1/16 off the end of this one because it sticks out just a little bit further. And we'll get the holes in there, and hopefully this week we'll get it all finished up. So let me get the camera. I'll bring you around here so you can see it. All right, there's your shot of the back side there. We're going to move you around a little bit. I love that though. I've gotten some nice pictures of it, so we're going to share some detailed photos of a lot of this on the tail end of the video there. It squeezed together, right? Oh, one thing I was going to tell you I did. After I already had this tight, after I bolted the bars up, what I did was took my ratchet and I loosened these so that it would self-center on the pressure of these bars. And once it's self-centered, I just snugged them back up. You can see a little bit longer here, so I'm going to trim that. And we'll put us a cross hole there and figure us out a little spring mechanism. And I hope that you can see it. I see the wear pattern right there. I'm going to rub it off. See it? I'm actually getting like kind of like 3 distinct lines right there. So I'm willing to bet that that's going to transfer current. Okay, so here's a little bolt and spring set up. So what I did is I dug through Paul's toolbox and I found a few springs in one of the drawers there, and this one turned out to be, I think, pretty much what I need. So I got a 1/4 inch bolt, so the inside of the spring fits the bolt. So here's the idea. All right, gonna slide that spring on the bolt. We'll put a washer here, and then it's going to be like this. It's going to push against one side, okay, so it'll be tension on it. The other side we'll put a washer and a nut on this other side right here. So that'll provide some spring tension on the bars there without actually, you know, pulling on it. So we'll start with this, and I think this will work, but if I need to, we'll upgrade it to a different bolt and spring, but I think this will work right here. I looked around some of the other drawers and I didn't find any other springs that's suitable for what I need, and it'd be nice to just use something I have here. So let's use this one right here. So all right, right. A little bit of deburring and we'll clamp her back up. That looks pretty level. There we go. One hit. Okay. All right, repeat it. We'll take this off and go mill it and drill it. Okay. All right, we're going to use that carbide tip straight tooth cutter. My intentions with that is hopefully it doesn't try to like pick it up as it's cutting it. Oh, I think that did fine. A little noisy, but it worked. All right, one more cut. Just gonna take 90. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, I'll let you watch me struggle and try to bolt it up. We got her deburred. I filed the end there. And see, what I'm doing is just trying to push it back just like that. But what I figured out is you got to have the bolt started and a little bit snug in order to get it to line up right. Just get the bolts in there. Push it back. Okay. All right. So let's see if they line up now. All right, I'm going to bolt, spring, and we're going to put a washer to back it up here. And it looks like it's going through there. So I'm going to change the stuff. This is just temporary. Okay, there it is though. There's your spring tension. And I think we got plenty on there, and then this will keep them pulled together. I like that. It looks good. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this setup with me when I get all my bolts. What I'd like to do, I think what I've decided I'm going to do is use stainless steel. I don't know any reason why I can't use stainless, but I was thinking of putting all stainless hardware on here, and so I'll look about getting a stainless bolt and a lock nut for this side here, so that I can just screw it on there and I ain't got to worry about this backing out. Man, that's it. Are you kidding me? We got to have something else to do. I got to clean up, I'll tell you that. All right, I got one more thing that I do plan on doing, and let me show you that. Get you over here where I'm sitting. Okay. Okay, the shaft here. I've had a few people say, hey, why don't you put you a tapped hole in the end? I actually had planned on doing that a while back when I machined this, and I totally forgot about it when I took it out of the lathe. And I just haven't mentioned anything about it. But yes, I do want to put a tapped hole here, a threaded hole. One would be so I can use a lifting eye. We'll put an eye bolt whenever we drop it down in there. We'll use the crane. And then two, I'll have a tapped hole here for either clamping if I need to, or something. I don't know. We can use that hole later for something. I just don't know what it's going to be yet. So I'm going to go back to the lathe with this and the Monarch. I need to get it all set back up. I'm just going to do a simple drill and tap for 5/8. I'm going to do 5/8 11. I like that size. And after that, we're going to be ready. We're going to be ready to do a mock-up. Okay.